I'm Adrian Ghobrial. Tonight we're live in Windsor, Ontario, where a blockade blocking the Ambassador Bridge has hit its fourth day. Now tonight negotiations have broken down between police and protesters, and the city here is taking legal action to try and have them removed. Now as you can see behind me, the blockade very much remains in place. The Ambassador Bridge has its lights on in the distance. Now many of these protesters in their vehicles, their vans, their trucks arrived here on Monday and have been here ever since, many of them sleeping in their vehicles through the night. And officials tell me that if this continues any longer, this major shipping route for trucks continuing to be blocked, that it could have a catastrophe. It could be an economic catastrophe.
This cannot be allowed to continue, and if force is required, force should be used.
$400 million worth of goods and products travel across the Ambassador Bridge every single day. Since Monday, more than $1.5 billion of commerce have either been diverted or have simply been stuck with nowhere to go. What began as a protest is quickly escalating into an international economic crisis.
We have to understand that these barricades are unacceptable. They are impacting on regular Canadians, whether it's grocery store prices, whether it's jobs lost and suspended, whether it's supply chains disrupted. This is hurting communities across the country.
We're in very close contact and coordination with the Custom and Border Protection Team and Canadian counterparts, Michigan Governor Whitmer, and industry stakeholders.
Yesterday, there was one lane of traffic getting across the Ambassador Bridge from Canada into the United States. And then late last night, protesters here moved in, closing off the last access point to the Ambassador Bridge, which is now completely closed. The result? Truckers here, lined up by the dozens, have been waiting for hours and hours, unsure what the days ahead will bring. What's your thoughts here, man, with these protesters blocking your way? You've been here for 14 hours.
Yeah, man, it's really disgusting. It's really disgusting. At least government should try to do something about it. It affects everybody, right? It affects our lives too.
You have to allow commerce. You have to have some common sense is a dying thing nowadays.
If the protesters don't move, do you think that force may need to be used?
I'm of the opinion if you break the law, you're arrested and you go to jail.
Our cameras were rolling as police tried to negotiate on the streets with protesters to reopen a lane so trucks could once again cross the bridge into the USA. Protesters began arguing amongst themselves and with police. The lane and the entire bridge remain closed.
What do you say to the truckers that have been parked back there for 14 hours?
Oh, some of them were probably on our side. There's probably a lot of them on our side.
To those that aren't on your side?
Well, the ones that aren't on our side, well, I can't, what am I going to say? I can't, you're on TV or radio, so I'm not going to say nothing.
This afternoon, Windsor's mayor announced the city is filing a court injunction to have the blockade removed.
Do you have a deadline here, for when it goes from trying to negotiate with those protesting to force being needed to reopen the Ambassador Bridge?
Yeah, yesterday. My deadline is, I'm well past the deadline of which I think is acceptable, which I think anyone in my community and I think Canadians would find unacceptable, that this small group of people has been allowed to shut down an international border crossing of such significance for such a long period of time.
So what comes next? Well, we can tell you that the Ford plant here in Windsor, they've had to cancel one of their shifts completely because the Ambassador Bridge remains completely shut down. That means their parts coming in from Detroit, the parts going back and forth, well, they're simply at a standstill. They can't get what they need to build the vehicles, and many across the country and the world are watching closely to see how police handle this over the next 12 to 24 hours. We can tell you that the OPP has arrived. They're here supporting Windsor Police. We've been told that the RCMP is on the way. Windsor's chief of police today declining to comment publicly.